Yes.
Okay, we call two cases here, 24 CR 1056 and 25 CR 491. The state of Texas versus Chardarian Parker. You and Mr. Parker present with Mr. Grove, your attorney, and the state's attorney. The defendant has entered a plea of guilty to the aggravated robbery, correct?
Yes, sir.
24 CR 1056. And then this aggravated assault with a deadly weapon is to be dismissed as part of this agreement, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that right? That's what I understood. Earlier in this case, the defendant entered a plea of guilty to aggravated robbery. A pre-sentence report has been prepared, and have the parties had an opportunity to review it, and are there any corrections or changes? State
No, Your Honor.
and defense.
No, Your Honor.
I can't find Chardarian Parker's plea. It says the plea was entered on 5/12. There's nothing showing up on this screen. Can you pull it out and let me look at it real quick? Thank you. So if the agreement is a cap of 8 years in prison, what we're looking at is two options. No less than two. No, stand by. It's a first degree felony, correct? No less than 5, no more than 8 years confinement in prison, or deferred or unadjudicated probation, which is an option. Regular probation is not available under the indictment, which alleges a deadly weapon, mainly. All right, go ahead, Mr. Grove. You may go first.
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court.
Yes,
Looking at Mr. Parker's record in this particular case, I hate to say it, but he may be one of the more fortunate people, even though he is charged with and has pled guilty to an aggravated robbery in which there were 3 individuals that went into a convenience store, and Mr. Parker had a handgun. There was no shooting. No one was really, in fact, even pointed a gun at them, but it's a very serious offense. And we look back at Mr. Parker's criminal history. The first thing that I see in looking at his entire criminal history and other background is he is probably one of the few individuals that I have ever seen in front of this court that does not have any drug charges, convictions, or probations, which is very unusual as the court goes. And I think that it's something, though, that will help Mr. Parker as he goes on with his life, in that he doesn't use drugs. What he is, the other thing in this case, look at the age of the 3 defendants. Mr. Parker has no prior adult convictions. He has actually two probations as a misdemeanor, or juvenile rather, but no drug charges and nothing like that. He also almost made it through high school. He dropped out when he was in the 12th grade, but this sets him up, and he's planning, if the court allows him, to go back and get not just a GED, but a high school diploma from his high school. And that's worth, in my experience, a whole lot more than a GED. But because of the particular circumstances in this case, he could still do that. Now, that he shouldn't have done this, there's no doubt about that. But Mr. Parker realizes that he came close to just ruining his life forever. Mr. Parker has a lot of family members that are here today. He has his mother, his father, his stepfather, his grandparents are here. He has uncles, aunts, cousins, and a number of family members that are in the audience to show the court that he has family support in this case. This is not a case in which he was going to be left by himself if the court decides to grant him deferred adjudication probation. He also has learned from his incarceration time. He's been in jail for about 4 to 5 months, and has learned that you can't stay in jail and accomplish very much. If the court grants him this deferred adjudication, he plans to return to his mother's residence upon release. He also is one of the few people that if he were granted deferred adjudication, that he has a job waiting for him. This is through his father, through his employment at the refineries. This is an opportunity, Judge, where I think the court saved Mr. Parker just before things got really bad. And I'm not justifying anything that he has done, because none of this is justified. However, considering that this occurred when it did, he was quickly arrested, and probably saved his life in more ways than one. He would ask the court, and we can go into more details, and he wants to address the court, to give him the final opportunity to receive deferred adjudication probation, realizing it's a very serious case, but this will basically save his life. He also has one child that he is going to be supporting, living with, as well as the mother, and the amount of family support that this young man has, I think, speaks very highly of his family, but is going to give him a chance to succeed in this case. And so, again, without going any further right now, I would ask the court to consider giving him one last chance for deferred adjudication probation.
How many chances has he had?
Judge, we can count. I believe he has three convictions, and one of them actually was dismissed, I believe, and there were probations. Now he has some other arrests. I'm not saying he does not, but looking at the number of times he has been in trouble as a juvenile, he has no TDC. He does have what I believe is 2 probations, and then as an adult, he is currently on 1 year community supervision for evading detention out of Harris County, and I believe that is the only thing besides the pending cases.
Well, Judge, there's
Hold on. Are you through?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Say.
there's just one hitch in all this, and that is that in the pre-sentence report there shows an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon offense on February 5th, which was indicted recently and got assigned to me after this offer was made, and so he's accused of shooting someone. So there is another offense in which he's involved in that we did not discuss in the plea bargain in this case because it got indicted after it came through the pike right as we were dealing with all this.
Yeah.
So he's got another second-degree offense where a man was shot in the neck. So
yeah.
I would dispute that, Judge. I think we were aware of that, and I believe what the evidence shows, and I apologize to Mr. Laird. I don't mean to say anything about this, but I think we did talk about this. There were 4 people in a car that approached another individual.
Mhm.
A person was driving the car.
You're talking about this other case.
Yes,
yes,
But it's been indicted?
yes, sir.
Been-
It's been
Well,
indicted.
Well, but it's
I
not
thought-
being dealt with today, right?
I don't show any other.
There isn't anything else.
There wasn't anything, as I know, the
Is that
plea
what
bargain
you wanna do
agreement,
is
I don't have anything written down that
You
says we
wanna
were
dispose-
disposed.
I thought we were disposing of that case.
No,
today.
this is the aggravated robbery.
Yes, sir.
Of
I mean, you can double check
24
the paperwork. I don't think
056.
there was anything dismissing it if we look at the plea papers.
Minute.
So there was one done? Okay, then I apologize, Judge. We'll
And
just,
again, that's the way I
Okay.
recall.
All right.
I will
Okay,
apologize.
we're just dealing with this matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't have it's still an open case in my files.
They did.
Okay,
He didn't sign.
okay.
I can't.
So,
I'm gonna,
All right.
I'm gonna sign it in a minute.
Okay.
If this disposal. Go ahead.
but otherwise, if he's done with his, I'll give my spiel on what I want on this case.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Judge, I'm looking at the story of the defendant. Seems a silly excuse for showing a gun to a clerk, that he thought this was a joke. Looking at his prior history, with his chances looks like as a juvenile, he's had several chances of getting probation and getting himself straight. And then he's got the misdemeanors that he had. We would ask for the 8 years. So this is just ridiculous. Sticking a gun to anybody, especially store clerks. We have to protect them from people like this defendant, from placing them in danger, because guns can go off. Guns are intended for one thing and one thing only, and that is to kill. And so we would ask the court to give him the 8 years.
What would you like? Would you like to say anything, sir? If you want, this is your time. It's your life.
Well, yes, I would like to say that I know I made a mistake, and I know that day that I wasn't thinking, but my intentions was to hurt nobody or to scare anybody or to walk out the store with aggravated robbery. I know what I did was wrong, and it ain't nothing to justify what I did, and it ain't nothing to justify for me showing him the firearm and playing around with somebody like that. And I know that it was wrong, but I just want to learn from my mistakes and do right on probation, so I can be there for my daughter, be there for my family, and go to work and go home and provide my son for my family. So,
What have you learned about hanging around with people that are in trouble?
but if I hang around people that get in trouble, I realize they get me in trouble. So that's why within 5 months of me being incarcerated, I realized that I can't hang around nobody unless it's my daughter or my family that's in the courtroom right now.
Yeah.
And you realize that if the judge is very lenient and decides to put you on deferred adjudication probation, but you could still end up doing life in prison.
Yes,
You
sir.
understand that?
It's
If you screw up one time, depending on facts, the judge has that discretion to do that.
yeah, so that takes a big part in and why I want to change for the better, because I know the circumstances of this case, and I know if you give me a chance, I know if there's anything that you could have did, and I ask that if you give me probation, I can show probation that I could be better for the community. You want to see me in your court again.
How many times have you been placed on probation?
One time when I was 16, and one time when I was 12.
You're forgetting a few.
Then at age 17, I was placed on probation for misdemeanor out of Harris County. So, adjudication.
Yeah, this juvenile, your juvenile history, you were placed on probation on March 23rd of 23 for 1 year delinquent court probation for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. And then also on that date, you were placed on probation for evading arrest with a motor vehicle on March 23rd of 2023. Okay, that was a year before this crime was committed. Then while you were on probation for those juvenile cases, you pick up an evading arrest or detention in Harris County on November 28th of 2023. And then on July 1st, which was 3 months after you committed this crime, you're placed on deferred probation out of Harris County for that, evading arrest and detention. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you've got this case you're dealing with. So in this pre-sentence report, God bless you. When you talk to the probation office on a pre-sentence report, you have to be forthright and truthful. And I don't understand why people aren't truthful. They have everything to lose because all of this is written down. You state to the probation officer here, you entered the store with two friends, playfully showing the cashier an object resembling a firearm. And you ask the cashier, do you know what this is? The cashier expressed discomfort. Now, these are your words. The defendant, then you put the object away while laughing. And then people stole something, a few items, and took off. That's what you told the probation office after you looked me right in the eye and told me you committed this aggravated robbery. There it is right here. I am guilty. You sign it. There's your signature right there. Chardarian, right there. Remember, under oath, swearing to tell the truth. I'm mentally competent. My plea is freely and voluntarily made. I've read the indictment, discussed it with my attorney. I am guilty of the offense and any lesser included offenses. I swear all of this is true, so help me God. And you pleaded guilty to committing, while in the course of committing theft, intentionally and knowingly threatening or placing the victim in fear of bodily injury or death. And you knew you did then and there use and exhibit a deadly weapon, namely a firearm. That's what you pleaded guilty to under oath to me. But you go back after that and talk to the probation office with nothing to lose by telling the truth. And you say you're hedging as to whether you really used a weapon or not. You said it's something that resembled a firearm. But you had pleaded guilty to me under oath for aggravated robbery. Even at the end, you're not telling the truth. Even at the end, you can't be forthright. How can I trust you on probation when you're not forthright with us? You say one thing under oath and then you go back and say something else to the probation officer. It's hard to believe you. You're a grown up. I hadn't been a grown up for long, but you're a grown up. You're an adult, correct? And you've got responsibilities. You've got a family, you've got a child. Yeah. And yet, with the family at home that you're supposed to be taking care of, you're out with some other thugs robbing, using deadly weapons. The victim could have easily pulled out their own firearm and shot all of you. And they'd probably be given an award for doing the right thing and making the town better when they were threatened with their life. But when somebody takes a gun out and places a gun in front of somebody in their face, they think that's the last moment of their life. That's what they all tell me, that I'm no longer in power. I'm no longer in control of my life. Some stranger like you who doesn't have the right to do that is in control. And one stupid, foolish pull of the trigger is the only thing left between dying and living. That's not fair. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You knew better. You had important responsibilities at home. You've been through the system several times. Making mistakes has accountability. You're going to be held accountable in this. The fear people have and the waking up with the night sweats and nightmares the rest of their life, looking at a firearm and someone else is in control of their destiny, it's not right. It's not fair. Then the law provides punishment for that. And you knew better. You had so many more important things to lose, and yet you made the choice to hang around bad guys and play with guns and threaten people with their life when you should have been at home. And you've been through the system. We've given you chances. You have made mistakes, and you just have made an even worse mistake after being on probation for 2 or 3 cases. I hate to see a person's life wasted, but each of us makes the choices, and that's what we have to live with, the choices we make. And you have family and probation people who have helped you know better, and you still did an even worse act than before by threatening somebody's life. And Stephen, and that carries with it, a crime like this carries with it up to life imprisonment. My goodness, that's how we treat it. It's important. It has the same punishment range as murder, because it has serious consequences. Oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find that you have pleaded guilty voluntarily. You are mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in this offense of aggravated robbery with the use of a deadly weapon, namely a firearm. I am following this agreement. You were hereby sentenced. You were hereby found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and sentenced, as I follow this agreement, to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 6 years. You will be given credit for time you have served, and the judgment shall reflect an affirmative finding that a deadly weapon, namely a firearm, was used in the commission of this offense. Do you understand what has happened today, sir? You have been held accountable for making a terrible mistake that you knew better. Now, we have one other case, correct? There is a motion to dismiss that case. And it's 24 CR 1056.
Yes.
Stand by.
Yeah.
It's 25 CR 491. 1056 is what the court just sent us the defendant to. The other case pending is hereby dismissed as part of this agreement. Do you understand what has happened today, sir? Speak. Okay. Good luck to you.
Is there some further business?